Missouri Governor Mike Parsons held a news conference this afternoon at the Hannibal Police Department. Governor Rauner spoke a lot about taxes today, criticizing his opponent, who he says wants to raise taxes. The governor's visit came as a surprise to many at tonight's open house to reveal the master plan construction.
KHQA's Lynsey Whitaker joins us now live from Peoria with more on that race. Lynsey?
Hubbell touted a variety of issues today, ranging from education, health care, and taxes. Hubbell criticized Republican Governor Kim Reynolds on all of those measures, saying her interest isn't what's best for the people of Iowa. I spoke to more than a dozen drivers who say that gas is a necessity, but they're not buying into the Chicago political machine. They say if a gas hike like this happens, it could mean a crisis for some Illinois residents. David and Raja, today's vote is a follow-up measure from a Hannibal election 16 months ago. That's when residents voted to remove ammonia from the city's drinking water. David, Governor Rauner spoke a lot about taxes today, criticizing his opponent, who he says wants to raise taxes. Rauner says he's working to roll back taxes to help both large businesses such as Knapheide Manufacturing and small businesses stay afloat in the land of Lincoln.
Being challenged by somebody who wants to raise the income tax, put in a vehicle miles tax, and $11 billion of new spending.
Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner made it clear Wednesday his top priority for a second term is infrastructure. That's if he's reelected. He says his team will roll out the largest infrastructure plan in the state's history during his second term.
We've got the money. We have a $38 billion budget. Put more of it in infrastructure, number one. Number two, expand public-private partnerships.
Governor Rauner says the state could fund the plan by building a stronger relationship with the federal government. He also says the state needs to bring in more revenue without raising taxes.
Is expand gaming in the state of Illinois. I don't gamble. I don't personally like gambling, but a lot of people like it. And right now people are leaving Illinois who live here to go gamble.
In his town hall forum, Rauner says in his 3.5 years of service, he's created 200,000 jobs and looks to create 500,000 more in the next 4 years.
The key to bringing more companies, reduce the taxes, reduce the regulatory burden, and they will come here because we've got the best people. We have the best location.
Western Illinois plays a critical role in the governor's vision. Rauner says the area will serve as a big place for transportation expansion and highway upgrades.
We're going to help this area grow even faster. More companies will come because they can get their products to market much more easily.
As far as the Illinois Veterans Home, Rauner says construction on a new plumbing system is proceeding well. Now, Governor Rauner criticized Democratic challenger J.B. Pritzker. Pritzker's office released a new higher education plan today. Rauner says there's no way to get free education and that Pritzker's using this proposal as a way to buy free votes. Live in Quincy, Lynsey Whitaker, KHQA News. Missouri Governor Mike Parsons held a news conference this afternoon at the Hannibal Police Department. Governor Parsons says he's not interested in building more prisons for those suffering from addiction. Instead, he wants to expand treatment courts to help those who are suffering seek treatment and get back into Missouri's workforce.
I think we got to promote that industry, and I think that's going to start in the high school levels, all the way from middle school to high school, probably through your counselors. Get it in the education system to make sure both those young men and young women both understand how an opportunity this is for that career.
Missouri's 39th Circuit Court Judge Alan Blankenship called treatment courts, quote, the most successful intervention in our nation's history, end quote. Here's what's next. A special session is scheduled for next week for the governor's legislation. Live in Hannibal, Lynsey Whitaker, KHQA News.
We want to make sure that the veterans coming here receive every dollar in benefits they're entitled to. And they are entitled to help from their government. We promised that if they served our country, we would stand by them in their years after service and retirement.
U.S. Senator Dick Durbin takes his tour of the Illinois Veterans Home in Quincy on Friday.
We want to make sure the VA continues to provide the financial assistance to Quincy Veterans Home to keep its doors open. It's a massive, substantial federal supplement that comes into the budget of this Quincy Veterans Home.
Durbin says the main focus is the veterans and their care, something he says he knows workers at the Vets Home in Quincy take seriously.
Reflecting on the men and women who work here and their dedication to veterans, I've never had any question in my mind But the fact that Legionnaire's disease recurred 3 straight years is a cause of concern to all of us, and certainly to the families of these veterans.
Durbin says one particular building on the campus, the CDC found evidence of the same string of Legionella bacteria that resulted in deaths in 2015.
That to me is a red light warning right there. Something is going on in this facility that needs to be looked at. The challenges here are special. The number of fatalities and people infected have reached a level where we have to pay special attention to it here.
In Quincy, Lynsey, Whitaker, KHQA News.
The governor's visit came as a surprise to many at tonight's open house to reveal the master plan construction. Governor Rauner will be staying overnight at the Illinois Veterans Home and is expected to address the media in the morning.
Paul Woodworth worked at the Illinois Veterans Home for 20 years. He says the plan unveiled Thursday gives him hope for the future.
You know, in 20 years, I might want to be living here.
Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner announced a $200+ multi-million-dollar plan to rebuild the Vets Home this past summer. That includes more than $50 million in startup funds fixed into the state budget. Less than 4 months later, demolition is underway.
But it starts with the leadership, and certainly he's been providing that leadership for all of us, and it's great when everybody kind of comes together and wanting to support our veterans. And
the master plan is a document based on current state analysis and evaluation. It serves as a framework for the future of the home and community.
We want the safety and security of our veterans, obviously. Second thing that we really want to do is focus on the viability of this, and also the sustainability, and tying it all in with the latest technology.
An open house Thursday afternoon gave the surrounding community a first glance at the vision for the new campus.
Just wanted to see what buildings they was going to take down and how the plan was, you know, going to be the new barracks or the new facility, and it's looking pretty good.
It will be the envy of every state veteran homes. They're going to come here to see what they can do in their states.
I'm told that the master plan is on track and is scheduled to be finalized by the end of this year. Happening tomorrow morning, the governor as well as some special guests will come together at the former Sycamore Healthcare Center for a renaming ceremony. Live outside the Quincy Veterans Home, Lynsey Whitaker, KHQA News.
East Iowa Democratic headquarters in Lynsey. Why does Hubble say he is the best candidate for Iowa's top job?
Hubble touted a variety of issues today, ranging from education, healthcare, and taxes. Hubble criticized Republican Governor Kim Reynolds on all of those measures, saying her interest isn't what's best for the people of Iowa. Hubble is a Des Moines businessman who says the largest issue facing Iowans is the privatization of Medicaid. He says Governor Reynolds' current budget is hurting rural Iowa, closing mental health care facilities, and taking away Planned Parenthood clinics. Currently, Lee County has the second highest unemployment rate in the Hawkeye State. Hubble says addressing the unemployment rate starts with education.
What every business wants is a highly productive, well-educated workforce. They want to have the infrastructure necessary to support their business, which is housing, which is internet, which is, you know, the roads and the bridges the other lady was talking about, and they want quality of life.
Hubble says his priority is to stop giving big benefits to large companies and wealthy individuals in the state. Instead, he wants to invest in people all across Iowa. Here's what's next. Governor Kim Reynolds is hosting a campaign rally here in Keokuk tonight. That rally is set to begin at 6 o'clock at the Beef, Bread, and Brew. Republican incumbent Darren LaHood is looking to spend a second term in Washington, but Democratic challenger Junis Rodriguez is trying to defeat the Peoria, Illinois native. Now, Rodriguez criticizes LaHood for spending too much time on Capitol Hill and not enough time listening to the people's needs in the district. LaHood says the economy is the best it has been in 15 years, and the nation doesn't have a revenue problem, it has a spending problem. The congressman was the only Republican from Illinois to vote no last February on the $1 trillion budget bill. Now, there is one thing that both parties agree on, and that's serving the people to the best of their abilities right here in the 18th Congressional District. Now, Congressman LaHood's watch party is expected to get underway at about 7 o'clock here tonight at the Lariat in Peoria. Attorney General Josh Hawley is lashing out towards Senator Claire McCaskill, calling her campaign stops like today's the All Talk No Work tour. McCaskill was quick to fire back. She says if she tried to decide what was best for the veterans without traveling around the state to listen to veterans, that would be politics.
Talking to veterans and listening to veterans is why I have such a long list of accomplishments for veterans.
U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill made one thing clear Thursday.
To me, this is personal.
The U.S. Senator made a stop in downtown Hannibal to address issues surrounding our nation's heroes.
So many people are wounded and things like that to come back with care that's not readily available.
John Yancey served in the Marine Corps from 1951 to 1954.
I'm very fortunate. I've been healthy. I haven't had any great problems.
But he says highly specialized services are rare in rural communities. McCaskill agrees.
We have to keep working on mental health services at the VA. PTSD is very common now, and VA has struggled to hire enough mental health professionals.
She's also going to bat for our nation's fallen heroes, including taking up the fight to give credit to 70 Vietnam veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Because they weren't in the territorial waters of Vietnam, they've been denied their place on the wall. I got to get that fixed. That's wrong. They should be on the Vietnam War Memorial.
Just 8 hours away from the polls opening for midterm elections.
That's right, and politicians from across the nation spent their final day campaigning for one last push to get those votes.
That's right, and KHQA's Lynsey Whitaker joins us now in studio with an inside look at Illinois' 93rd District House race. Lynsey?
The 93rd District race may look similar to 2 years ago when Democrat John Curtis tried to unseat Republican incumbent nominee Noreen Hammond. 2 years later, voters from 8 counties must once again choose their favorite candidate.
When it comes to fighting for residents in Illinois' 93rd District, 2 candidates have tried to set themselves apart.
I am personally working on a lot of long-term care issues for seniors and also for veterans. So education at every level, K through 12 through higher education, those are all very strong issues that we need to be focusing on.
I'm working real hard out there. I would say that I've knocked on many more doors than she has, and I've been out to all of the small communities and the larger communities in the district.
Democrat John Curtis says voters have brought up several issues to him during his campaign stops across the area.
People leaving the area, good jobs, education funding, property taxes are a big issue that I hear a lot about.
Republican incumbent Noreen Hammond says she plans to continue her fight for long-term care if re-elected. She also serves as minority chair on the Higher Education Committee.
We are looking at funding for higher education and coming up with a formula similar to what we did for K through 12 education.
Both have one last message.
When I've been out talking to voters, they want change. And I'm the one that's going to bring change. Everywhere that I go, people are talking about needing new faces. They want to see new ideas. They want to see new people.
And I would just encourage all of your viewers to get out and vote.
According to WGIL Radio, Hammond has raised more than $860,000 in the race for Illinois' 93rd District. Curtis has raised about $414,000. The renaming comes as crews are working to rebuild a former nursing home that will serve as a temporary site while new buildings included in the master plan are being built. Friday's ceremony allowed members of the community to get a first-hand look at the progress being made on this building.
1, 2, 3. Yay!
After closing its doors more than a year ago, the former Sycamore Healthcare was acquired by the state and now has a new name.
Today, we take a special step. Today, we celebrate a true American hero, a true Illinois hero, and a true hometown Quincy hero.
Lester Hammond Hall is named after the late Lester Hammond, who sacrificed his life in the Korean War.
Enrolled in the Army at a young age and went off to defend democracy in Korea.
Hammond was also awarded the Medal of Honor for his bravery and heroism. His family filled the front row at Friday's ceremony.
But we are grateful that Lester had courage and the honor to serve his country proudly. It's always nice when someone takes the time to honor a hero. Lester was a true American hero.
More than 100 names were submitted for recommendation in the process. To date, 12,000 volunteer hours have been served in this master plan process. The plan comes after 12 residents died from the Legionella disease contracted at the Illinois Veterans Home in 2015.
We take a major step in improving the quality of health care and the living conditions for our heroes here in the Quincy Veterans Home with this new building and enhance the quality of their health care experience.
There has been some concern on if these new facilities will decrease the amount of beds at the home. Governor Rauner says that that's not the case, and his goal is to continue to increase and expand the Illinois Veterans Home. We'll know more about those numbers released in the master plan at the end of this year. Reporting in Quincy, Lynsey Whitaker, KHQA News.
The mayor envisions for the Gem City's future.
Marcus Mayor Moore talked about many proud accomplishments for the city in 2017, but he also took time to lay out a 10-point plan for the future.
Clear vision, along with the courage to follow through, dramatically increases anyone's chance of success.
Quincy Mayor Kyle Moore spoke on ways to better Quincy for the future.
First, train a skilled workforce. We already have training programs at John Wood Community College and Quincy University that are formed with the input of our employers.
Mayor Moore says raising money to put into local scholarship funds makes it financially attractive for students to pursue higher education in Quincy.
We can grow a diversified economy by placing larger investments in industries like tourism.
He showcased cities like Alton, Grafton, Burlington, who all focus on tourism dollars. He says Quincy should too. Number 3, using an empty city building and turning it into a tech hub.
4, we can encourage infill housing by starting a revolving loan program for our river neighborhoods, similar to the Central Business District Revolving Loan Fund.
Mayor Moore's 5th prong models a program at the Quincy Mall.
If there is a chronically vacant storefront, the city could offer sales tax rebates.
Number 6.
Placemaking, enhancing access, and connection go hand in hand. We can adopt a citywide wayfinding program which could direct people from the entrances of our town to the core of our community.
8. Mayor Moore says the area down by the Oakley-Lynsey Center needs to be more inviting.
The Oakley-Lynsey Center welcomes in thousands of visitors and hundreds of events each year.
The riverfront is a topic that has been talked about for decades. There soon could be a new boat dock to bring in traffic.
Have a public investment that would allow for recreational and larger boats to undock on our side of the Mississippi.
By building the dock, more businesses will have the chance of surviving on the riverfront.
Lastly, building a greenway system is the largest undertaking in the strategic plan, but can have the most positive long-term effect on our community.
The Quincy City Council will vote on the strategic plan for Quincy in March. Raja Congressman Loebsack toured the new community health center earlier this afternoon in Keokuk. During that tour, I asked him what has he done as a congressman to help make our schools safer. He says he's hopeful for the future, but with the Republicans running the House floor right now, he says, quote, they don't even want a basic gun safety.
Even elementary things like expanded background checks on the floor, because I think that would pass overwhelmingly. Things like making sure that if you're on a no-fly list, you don't have access to weapons. I think that makes complete sense. Things like that. But it really is a question, unfortunately, of who controls the agenda in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Representative Loebsack will seek re-election this November. He's running against 2nd Congressional District nominee and Republican Chris Peters and independent Daniel Clark. Coming up tonight on KHQA News Tonight at 10, we'll take you inside this new facility and tell you why Congressman Loebsack says how rural health care is crucial to this area.